Hello, my name is Michelle.
And I'm Robin. Hello.
We are a married couple, and though immigration concerns...
No. Not having it.
What?
Well, we got a whole bunch of people and you're talking about us, right? So this is like people stepping through the door and you go, hello, let's talk about us for a bit. First, welcome to Blighty Day Fiancé.
Okay, welcome to Blighty Day Fiancé.
Very good.
This is to let our listeners know, Robin winds me up to the point where I'm just about overflowing with rage before we start recording.
Yeah, she may bite. We should explain our setup very quickly, although people are interested in the show, not about us. But we could explain our credentials. Should we do that?
Yes. Okay. That's what I was doing when you interrupted me.
There's going to be a lot of that.
There's going to be a lot of that. And the worst part is that people are going to take your side because they're going to find you effortlessly charming and they're going to think that I'm some kind of menacing shrew getting in the way of all your fun.
I'm an international man of mystery, like Sean.
An irritating international man of mystery,
yeah,
like
all right.
Sean.
I am an irritating man of mystery, yeah.
So because Discovery dropped 3 episodes, not 1, but 3, we are actually going to cover all 3 episodes. So if you haven't watched all 3, I highly recommend you do that so you don't get spoiled.
Yeah, we spoiled a line from Sean. We spoiled the fact that there is someone called Sean. If you've only seen episode 1, I don't think you even know that there's a Sean. So far we are 1 for 1 when it comes to spoilers. So yes, just to warn you again, Discovery Plus, dropped 3 episodes. We were expecting 1. We're still just doing 1 podcast. We're fundamentally lazy. But we're going to do all 3 of those episodes today because frankly, we've all got better things to do with our lives. So please, if you haven't watched episodes 2 and 3, go and watch episodes 2 and 3 and then come back.
We'll be waiting. There are 8 couples in total. For those of you who have watched the American version of Matt Sharp's magnum opus 90 Day Fiancé, the traditional format is so named because in America you get a K1 visa, which grants the couple 90 days before they legally marry. And if you don't get married at that time, they will turf you out.
Yeah, tie the knot or off you trot.
That's exactly right. The difference between the formats of the US and the UK is that the UK visa is far more generous with time, which some might say, I dare say, is more reasonable. And if production is to be believed, their take is that they're going to follow these couples for a limited period of time, be that 90 days or a series of months. We're still unclear on that.
Yeah, you get 180 days in the UK, right? But Discovery didn't have enough characters for that in the show description. They it's like they could go as far as 99 Day Fiancé, and then they discovered that it's actually 180, and they're like, no, it's 90. Live with it.
I was going to say that it's because they know not to overstay their welcome, which, if you ask me, is the most British lens through which these stories can be told. Is the camera crew not wanting to be nosy and ask questions.
It's kind of crazy, right? All right, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we've seen 4 couples and pretty much they're all over within a weekend.
I don't know, so that's the setup. And in terms of our coverage, I think we can probably go couple by couple, but just to start us off, we can do a brief intro for each. So we begin with Bridie, age 31, from sunny Rotherham, which is in...
All right, how long...
How many people am I going to offend?
Yeah, we got to backtrack. So just to explain, I'm from the UK. born in London, still live in London. I've lived lots of other places. Michelle is from the US of A, from just outside Washington. You've been here how many years?
It's important to clarify Washington, D.C., not Washington State. Because
Right.
those are very different areas.
Yeah. So we are essentially the 90-day experience, except we're really not, because she was already here. I'm her second British husband. She's my second American wife.
More on that another time.
Right.
Because we like to build up the mystery.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to put all that out there right now.
Okay. And just before we begin, we've been watching this stuff for ages, right?
Yeah.
90 Day.
A long time.
Going back and watching all the old things. I got into it because Michelle insisted. It was written into our prenup. Our prenup that I would watch not only 90 Day Fiancé, but things like Below Deck. She's got me into Seeking Sister Wife. We spent our entire honeymoon watching Maths, Married at First Sight, an old season of that. I'm not a reality guy, but love does strange things to a people. So that's my perspective. She is very much all about this shit.
I am. I have a religious devotion to the reality arts and sciences. and I have made it, if not my life's work, my greatest aspiration and my most fervent
What,
hope.
to be on something?
No, I don't. Well, let's stop talking about me. I have not traveled extensively in this beautiful, beautiful country that has been my home for 10 plus years. So if I mispronounce something or I don't know where it is, it just comes with the territory. And I do apologize to the Rotherhamites.
Rotherhamites.
To the Rotherham.
You get Rotherhamites and Rotherhamites, right? In caves. Now, the Rotherhamites, they hang on from the top of... Yeah, go on.
Okay, so Bridie is from Rotherham.
Yeah.
And her partner is named Host, and he is 28.
I've been watching a lot of Westworld.
Well, we both have.
Is he a robot?
I guess that remains to be seen.
Okay.
For those of you who don't watch elite HBO, is it HBO? HBO dramas.
Sky over here.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sky Atlantic, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't
Classy
matter.
Sky.
For the unfamiliar, Hosts are the names of the robot race, I suppose.
Right.
So it's interesting that this man's name is Host. I wonder if it's short for anything. I don't know.
Hostess?
Very doubtful.
Okay.
I think we'll get in trouble for making fun of that name, so we probably shouldn't.
True.
Bridie is a single mom.
I'm going to call her Birdie. I don't mean to.
You're going to alienate the Irish,
I don't
and we
mean
don't
to.
need that.
It's just hard.
Bridie is a single mom of two. She met Host on a gaming platform online. They have yet to meet in person, and she intends to fly to Beirut for a weekend because it's too hard to do it the other way around.
Yeah, which is fine, because I don't know, like, Lebanon's kind of, visa waiver program, and I imagine that's probably the case. And it's hers. She says, I don't need anything, right? I can just go. But a weekend.
Yeah, well, particularly given how that weekend turns out. Anyway, we'll get to that. We also have, there are two Seans. So we have Sean, who I dare say, I don't want to say he's from South Africa. He sounds South African to me, and his parents do, but I don't want to.
It's not been established.
It's not been established, so I'm not going to say he's South African.
Could be Zimbabwe.
He's from Botley, which is in Hampshire, and I am so sure we've been there before.
I've been to the Botley interchange by Oxford. It's not an interesting anecdote. You should continue.
And didn't catch his age, by the way. Christine is 42 from Antipolo, Philippines.
Very good.
They met on social media 8 years ago, and he supports her plus 4 children, plus her parents on his cleaning manager salary, while he eats frozen lasagna in a 1-bedroom flat.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a good arrangement, isn't it?
it's true.
I don't know. We should be very clear about this. I don't know that the lasagna was frozen. So
He took it out of the fridge. You're absolutely right.
it looked to me that was an under-counter fridge, right? It's going to have a very small freezer container.
That's
cabinet.
true.
I think he went for the main body. I'm pretty sure it's a chilled lasagna.
And I have to say, the Marks and Spencer's wheat-free or free from lasagna ready meal is very good.
Yeah, but he wasn't having that.
And I'm not going to turn my nose up at it.
Right.
I'm also not turning my nose up at ready meals, by the way.
That is Britain, all right? All right. So as we go through this podcast, I dare say we might get 1 or 2 American listeners. I don't know if you're getting the show. Hopefully you're gaining access to it through wonderful means. Not that anyone should ever do that, but hopefully you're seeing the show somehow, or you will in the future, right, when it gets broadcast in the US of A. But ready meals are a very big deal in Britain. People always talk about fish and chips. We'll get to fish and chips being the national dish. It's not true. Microwaves and anything that comes out of them are basically the national dish of this country. We live for our ready meals, and they're generally not too awful. Now, if you go to America, as I have a few times, I guess you call them TV dinners still, right?
Yeah, I think now I can't say for sure because I haven't lived there in quite some time, but there's less of a ready meal culture in America.
And more of a fast food drive to a place and get your crap food culture.
Sure.
Right. So let's not be down on Sean for eating his lasagna out of the microwave in the fridge. It may have been lovely.
That was not a judgment. I'm just saying we've seen him eat twice, and both times it's been the same thing. Whereas Christine is out there getting fresh produce from a market for what looks like an incredible meal.
Yeah. The way to a man's heart and all that.
Right.
Right.
We also have Katie, age 26, from Rastic, West Yorkshire, and Alejandro, age 30, from Guadalajara, Mexico.
So beautifully said. Guys, I mean, this podcast may make you all sick. We're married. We're very much in love. The thing that excites me most about Michelle is when she puts on her Spanish voice. She's fluent in Spanish, being largely raised by a Spanish lady in many ways. Her Spanish is incredible. Can you say Guadalajara again?
No.
Come on, for the ADSR people out there.
No, because you're... Maybe later. All right. Katie is a nurse, and I believe I could go as far as calling her an influencer. She's documented her weight loss journey on social media, which is a very brave thing to do, especially considering I think she said she was 4 stone.
Yeah, she lost 4 stone this year. I've put on 4 stone this year, so maybe I've taken what she dropped.
And she lives with her dog, Nala, who is also a TikTok celebrity.
Yeah, we're mainly going to talk about Nala on this podcast. It's mainly going to be a Nala podcast.
I do very much like her best friend / grandmother, Liz.
Not so keen on her other friends, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. And finally, Victoria, 33, from Wolverhampton, and Sean number 2, 42. I don't know that he's from Kyoto. I understand that that's where he's based, so we'll say from Kyoto.
Yeah.
Victoria loves Japan. She's been there twice. She is a Pokemon Go
Never played it.
aficionado.
Not familiar.
She met Sean, which is a stage name. I would not dare attempt to pronounce his...
I was really hoping you would.
No, I haven't written it down. I cannot read Japanese, and I don't wish to offend anyone in that particular way.
Fair. Sean's a Rummel bean, isn't he? He's
Sean, now she knows very little about him, but I think that's okay because she doesn't seem to know a lot more than he does.
I'm not sure she knows much about anything, though.
Himself.
Does she? Yeah, it's fine. And also a little bit of mystery in a relationship's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, we'll get to that. Actually, do you want to start with them? Because I think comparatively, there's far less on them than on everyone else.
That's true. Again, we're doing episodes 1, 2, 3. Even by the end of 3, not a lot's happened. So yeah, let's do them.
Okay. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
We haven't got any ads, but I do need to call my kid. And we're back, except we never went away because we haven't got any ads. We're new. No one wants to pay us. Are we doing this for money? I don't think we're doing this for money.
No. We're doing this because it's in our hearts and we're choosing love over violence, right? Or love over fear,
so far.
rather.
So far. But we'll come for people. Oh, we'll come for people if they have it coming.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think so. I know these people seem pretty nice. Anyway, Victoria from Wolverhampton has been talking to Sean for 2 years. Her understanding of what a lie is very interesting to me.
Yeah. I think it's about right. It's accurate.
She was made aware that Sean did not tell the truth about his age.
Sure.
But according to her, he didn't lie about his age. He just didn't tell her that he was 42.
And that's reasonable.
So that was an assumption she made. Never mind. She describes him as a man of mystery who gives you just enough info to keep you interested. She meets her friend Rosie for tea at a Japanese restaurant. She says that Sean doesn't have a job, but he does have a lot of credit cards.
He does have a lot of credit cards.
Now, to be fair...
He could lend one to the other Sean.
He could. It could be a Sean to Sean credit union.
A really small credit union. You can only lend money to people with the same name as you.
You can only lend... No, it's just for Sean's.
Just for Sean's. But basically, you've got Sean Puffy Combs, P. Daddy, right? And he's just obliged to lend money to all the other Seans. I don't think he'll go for it.
No, I don't think so.
Are there any other rich Seans in the world? There's a Shawn Mendes, isn't there?
Shawn Mendes.
He's probably got a few.
Isn't the Napster guy called Sean?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah. He made some money. He got some Facebook money, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that Justin Timberlake played, who had that phenomenal line, $1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? $1 billion.
You just said that in your Theranos voice.
I think I'm going to do the rest of the podcast in my Theranos voice so that people understand that this is a life-changing podcast.
You're saving lives.
Anyway, Rosie, as any good friend would be, is concerned that, as she puts it, Sean might have so many skeletons in his closet that he can't close the door.
Such a good line. I used to make my living from writing good lines, and I would have loved that line. That's a good line.
Here's another one from Victoria. He hasn't lied. He's just been shady with the truth and never given a straight answer.
Right. Perfectly reasonable way for a prospective husband to behave.
Again, interesting notion of what a lie is, but we're not here to judge.
Have you ever withheld any vital information from me?
I don't think so. Probably not.
That was a long pause.
Well, I don't have your credit cards, so I don't have any reason to withhold information from you.
You know where they are.
And you know where all the Amazon boxes are, so.
True. Okay, we just edited something out there. That was our first edit, and it's because Michelle made an off-color joke.
I won't be making any more.
Okay.
We meet Sean in Kyoto. He says that he's 17 years old. Hilarious. Younger people are much better, he says. He wants to marry Victoria, and he told her that he loved her after about 5 days.
Right. I think I did that with you, though.
Yeah, but enough about us. He describes himself as a mystery man. He suggests that it's sexy. Vic finds it irritating. He says he makes money through YouTube.
Okay, we looked at his YouTube channel.
We did.
He's got 15 videos. No, 19. He's done 19 videos in 5 years. I don't know that you can monetize that to the degree that you can live off it. He has had 2 million views, 1.9 million views of one of his how to make a saw videos. But even then, right? Like,
I thought it's him just using a table saw.
No, it's how to build a table saw, I think. Which, you know, don't get me wrong. I've got into all this stuff recently. I might subscribe, I might like, and I might subscribe. But I don't think you can live off that.
Well, most critically, he doesn't know if you can live off that either, because he doesn't know how he makes money.
I think it's best that we don't talk about this.
Funny, that is what he said to the producer.
Yeah.
And I believe that
I'm going to fill time here at the moment. So, but as we're doing this, I'm going to explain our setup. So you might hear an aeroplane going overhead. There's a lot of birds. We're in a little thing in the garden. There's that. My chair will occasionally make some noise. It's kind of creaky. I'm just saying all this now because, you know, we very much hope that you're going to stay with us for years to come. And it's best that you prepare yourself in advance for all the things that are going to annoy you. Okay, Michelle.
That's right. So in closing, and I think that this is appropriate, Sean tells us that Victoria's dad sent him a message saying, "I'm watching you."
Right.
We then cut to Victoria packing a suitcase and merrily wondering aloud whether Sean is a serial killer.
Yeah, which everyone does at the early stages of a relationship. I don't think we should over-index that. So she's packing and he's packing. So she's packing in an owl suitcase, right?
Yep.
Yep. He's packing in a mysterious suitcase that has no markings on it. But where are they both going? Or is this one of those, she's staying in London for a bit? You probably can't fly Japan to West Yorkshire, right?
Before we get to that, there is a scene between Sean and his sister. He's told Victoria that she doesn't need to meet his sister. We meet his sister in a very dark restaurant in Kyoto with the Blade Runner music playing in the background.
Yeah, this is like, okay, if anyone watched the last series of, I want to say Before the 90 Days with Ella.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get to this. But she would have gone crazy for the scene because it was her, it's everything that she wanted from like an Asian setting, right? So you have the food, you have the dark and brooding, mysterious music, you have the neon lights reflecting in the rain. I don't know if it actually had that. In my head, I imagined that. I imagined that they were lost like tears in rain. I imagined they fought whatever forces of the... I can't quote Blade Runner. Wake up, time to die. That's Blade Runner, right?
It didn't not look like Wolverhampton.
No.
That's all I'm saying. At least he's not going to have, the same kind of weather shock.
But remember, they don't have any they don't have any Japanese in Wolverhampton. But what I love about this production is they cut to a shot of a Chinese restaurant.
Right.
Amazing.
Right. Which, I think is ill-advised. And I can speak to this a little bit as someone who has occasionally been misidentified as Canadian. They're very different countries.
China,
very different.
China and Japan.
China and Japan, very different countries.
Yeah.
Haven't been to either. Anyway, the sister alludes to some dangerous situations he's come into whilst living abroad. And I think it's worth saying that, was it his Instagram that says that he's...
YouTube, yeah.
His YouTube, yeah.
Ooh, or maybe it's his Insta. Who cares? Look it up. It does say currently living in Japan, I think, and planning living in other countries. Like, this guy's agenda is kind of out there on the internet. He wants to live somewhere else. So it's a common 90-day trope, and it's the essential kind of mystery at the heart of everything. Is this person in it for love? Are they in it for what actually in these first 3 episodes is referred to as a green card? Of course, we don't have green cards in the UK. That's an American thing, but nevertheless, is he in it for an entry or residential visa of some kind? And yeah, there's a lot of evidence there.
I think people are attaching emotionally to the memory of the 90s film
Green Card.
Green Card,
with
yeah,
Gerard
correct.
Depardieu and
Andy McDowell?
I want to say Andy McDowell. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. People are screaming. So moving right along to Bridie and Host. So as we said before, Bridie is from Rotherham. She's a single mom of 2 girls, and she speaks to having lost her identity over the past 8 years of motherhood, which I can empathize with to an extent, having none of my own biological children, but I have a dog that I am convinced I gave birth to somehow.
Michelle is the stepmother to our wonderful son. So that is kind of nonsense. You get having a kid.
Oh, of course I do. Of course I do. I'm just being flippant because it's a feeling that's very close to my heart. I also will say I have a great amount of difficulty when children are involved in these programs because these relationships tend to be at best quite contentious, and especially when kids are kind of old enough to understand what's going on, it really does bother me.
Yeah, if you've got beekeeping in common as a hobby, then it's fine to mess your children around, but in any other circumstances, not okay.
You know what? Look where they are now.
They're still together, right?
Yeah, they have their own child.
And how
together.
many bees now? That's a deep cut. We've got to be very conscious of the UK audience. You probably think, hey, this is a new show. This is kind of cool, right? I got this whole new channel, Discovery Plus. That's exciting. And it's this whole new... This is old stuff, okay? We are living in America's shadow. We're like Russian people in the 80s going, Blue Jeans, Bon Jovi. We are so behind.
Yeah, we're very behind. But also, we occasionally slip into our shared weird like twin language because of spending 2 years in lockdown together, and let's face it, most of the time together, even before and after that.
Yeah, if you didn't spend all of lockdown watching all of the old seasons of American 90 Day, then I feel that you wasted an opportunity, and we should look at the pandemic as a gift that was given to us so that we could watch a lot of reality TV. If you didn't do that, you're probably not getting another chance.
If you did something foolish like learn another language or start a new hobby,
Loser.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, Mother Bridie, didn't catch her name, says that Bridie has caused her the most heartache of all her kids.
Ouch.
As the middle child myself, I really felt that. And the child that has caused my mother the most heartache. She doesn't want Bridie to go to Lebanon because Bridie speaks her mind. And she says her head has got no say in what's happening now.
Lebanon's a weird place, right? Because Lebanon was like the jewel of that part of the world.
It was the Paris of the Middle East.
It was the Paris of the Middle East. It was very cosmopolitan. It's frequently held up as, look, people, Arab people can, live like Westerners to a degree and blah, blah, blah. And we can have all the discussions about whether one thing's better or another. But Lebanon was a gorgeous city. And then it got bombed to hell. And it kind of got better again. And I think it's kind of got a bit worse again.
Yeah, I think we're going to generally try to steer clear of geopolitics in this.
No, we're going to do a lot of geopolitics.
I personally, despite being on the board of an international consultancy, I think I'm going to steer clear on it.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Lebanon is a wonderful place with wonderful people, but it is
beautiful people.
Right, but it's fallen on hard time.
Yeah. I agree that with Host that he is very handsome. He's had an Instagram account that he deleted because he was getting very popular with the ladies. Bridie says she gets very angry and jealous over long distance, and this is confirmed by Uncle Wissam,
who is the MVP of these first 3 episodes, right?
Yes, we like him a great deal.
We do. We like him. We like his super hot girlfriend. Everything about this man. This man is the George Clooney of Lebanon.
He really is. And he's a hairdresser.
Right.
Which
also, you know how like when you go to the hairdresser and they won't stop talking and it's kind of annoying and I love you, Mike, and please don't ruin my hair next time I go see you, right? But you know, sometimes it's like, can we not do the small talk and everything? This is the hairdressing session from hell.
But he's very wise. He knows a lot about women and he's able to offer his wise counsel to his nephew.
But it's like, ask me, are you going anywhere nice on holiday Yes, I'm going to Beirut. I'm here right now. Don't ask me these questions. That is a nightmare scenario, having your hairdresser asking you pertinent questions like that.
Do you have any other stand-up bits from the 90s you'd like to resurrect?
Shall I talk about airline food?
Should we? Bridie's sister Eden, who looks like Tori Amos,
she
Dead
does.
Ringer.
Yeah.
Very beautiful lady, drops by. She describes Bridie as feisty, determined, and hot-headed. Eden says Bridie is a very jealous person who gets into silly arguments over Facebook likes.
There's an Angela situation going on here, right? Again, apologies to anyone that is not au fait. We will do this from time to time, but there's a 90-day couple, Angela and Michael. I believe they're coming back for the season of 90 Day Happily Ever After, which is about to stop.
Less said about that, the better.
Less said about that, the better. I'm not a big fan of Angela, but this whole, you interact with other people on Facebook thing, there's something very coercive about this.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Eden also, I feel, kind of gets her sister all revved up for the proposal, the hypothetical proposal that might happen.
I think she did it deliberately. It's such a landmine that she kind of put there. It's like, oh, what if he and by saying what if he proposes like the second you arrive at the airport and he doesn't do it, you're setting your sister up to feel massive disappointment. And I think there's an agenda there.
I don't think she likes Bridie very much. I'll say this. I think Bridie is the sister that you make the maid of honor, but it's understood that the other sister is the real maid of honor. But you give it to Bridie because you're scared that she's going to set the marquee on fire if you don't. Anyway, Bridie is packing things to not sleep in. Nice. I noted a distinct lack of edible undergarments in the whole of these three episodes. There's
a 90-day tradition that the neediest men always pack candy underwear, edible underwear for their other halves. Quite an interesting dynamic on this show, actually, in the sense that sometimes on 90 Day, the idea is like, will they fuck, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of a given on this.
I just don't think... I don't think people make that big a deal about it. And there isn't a huge culture in this country of talking about sex as candidly as there is in America.
Or maybe there's more comfort with it as well because, you know, there's that European outlet. But I just thought it was interesting that there's that slightly prurient thing, which they sometimes do on like 90 Day US, but they didn't do it.
No, they had an ample opportunity and they just sort of... Which I think taking the opportunity not to shame someone but then on the other hand, they really emphasized Katie's self-esteem issues with her body. Again, and her.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Yeah.
That was an over-index.
Yeah, that was. I'm very disappointed in that, actually. Meanwhile, Host is shopping with cousin Hassan. He's not sure if Bridie is expecting a proposal. He's talking about getting a present and a surprise. He's told Bridie that this is going to happen. We then cut to Bridie's friend, Chloe, driving her to the airport. Chloe thought Beirut was in Jamaica.
Yeah, I couldn't remember myself whether the capital, country, Lebanon. And I feel deeply ashamed of that because I know this shit. So I'm on the friend side. Sometimes you have brain farts.
Yeah, but I think her brain fart is permanent. I think her brain fart is a gas leak. You
think her brain fart is a French bulldog's fart?
No, I think it's a carbon monoxide leak.
All right.
That's what she was giving off.
But were you like me? Were you a little bit like, why can't this be the character for this season? I thought that the friend, what's her name again?
Chloe. Yeah.
I thought Chloe would be amazing. Can we line Chloe up with someone from another country? Because I want to see more of Chloe.
I'd like to hear a lot more from Chloe myself. Now, this is where I actually found it quite touching. Host tells us that Bridie has changed how he sees life and given him fresh hopes for the future. Still, he's not sure about proposing to her, which I think is pretty reasonable given they've never met in person.
Yeah.
Uncle takes it a little bit further, cautioning him that women can kill. And when they get jealous, they become abnormal. Like I said,
this pregnant pause is when I'm supposed to say something kind of, comedically misogynistic or...
No, but we're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
It's a weird thing to say.
Now, there's a lot of back and forth here, but to cut a long story short, because nobody else's travel stories are interesting, right? I can't bear it. Bridie missed not one, but 2 flights.
Okay, let's be fair, right? So they changed the gate supposedly at the last minute, but probably...
You're doing exactly... But nobody cares. Nobody's worried about...
Oh, you want to cut it short? I ain't cutting this short.
I'm not saying that she wasn't like, oh, she should have made the first flight. This happens all the time. It's happened to me. She should have made
the second flight.
She probably should have made the second flight. And we actually learn at this point, or just after, that she's only there for the weekend. So that's why. So
when they first show it, I'm like, what's the big deal, right? What's the problem? All right, you're going for a month or something, because that would be presumably the amount of time. And then she's going for a weekend. This isn't like some sort of EasyJet booze cruise. This is, you're going to meet the prospective, man of your future, your husband. Maybe longer than a weekend.
Yeah, well, they have to make use of the time they have, right? Unfortunately, they have differing ideas of what that actually means.
But this is the thing, right? So much of their meeting is about, I'm here for a limited amount of time, and he's taken this time to drag me to, a shitty boutique to get some shirts that I have to say nice things about, or we're having a meal with his family.
Ahead.
Oh, I'm going to do that. But so much of it is like, we're not using this time. And she's like, I want to stay in the hotel room, and you know what? But I'm like, why is it so short? That is never explained. Like, there's a work thing, but again, like, be there as he goes to work. Does he work on an oil rig? What? I do think the show should have made it slightly clearer over why it was such a condensed amount of time.
Yeah, that is confusing. I mean, I imagine there are economic concerns on both sides.
Childcare,
Her
maybe?
being a single mom
Yeah.
and him being in what he's described as a pretty hopeless economic situation. Still, lots of eating out and shopping.
Right.
You can't let life defeat you like that. You have to celebrate. So fortunately, when they meet, they have instant chemistry. It's very clear to see, cannot keep their paws off each other. Very, very much engaged and enraptured, these two.
I am still a sucker for airport scenes.
I am too.
I'm not going to deny it. Every time I see one of these, I feel like I'm in like a Disney movie. There's a little bluebird on my shoulder and there's like hearts all around and I'm in an animation world of pure love, because every time I see these scenes, I feel it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. That's why people watch Love Actually over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's not that little kid with the drums. And it's definitely not Andrew Lincoln standing outside Keira Knightley's house. I don't think I've seen that movie all the way through.
Yeah, you have, but in different bits. Yeah.
I think it's just always been on in someone's living room around Christmas time, and I've seen.
But if you haven't seen it all, Andrew Lincoln opens the door and there's a lot of zombies inside. That's what happens.
Anyway, Bridie says being with Host is amazing. Host says Bridie is the most beautiful woman ever. He brings her a box of makeup.
Oh boy.
That is a risk. I think unless it's in your Amazon wish list and you've specified all your favorite colors and palettes, etc., that is a gamble to take. I'm
a big fan, and any men listening to this, any heterosexual men listening to this, or indeed not necessarily heterosexual because we can all wear makeup, I'm a big fan of, the Christmas kind of boxes that contain all kinds of things, because there will be something in there that your other half likes, right? It doesn't mean they like everything, but there will be the one thing and they go, I wanted that for ages, right? So that is a way of playing safe when it comes to cosmetics. A way of not playing safe when it comes to cosmetics is buying a bunch of stuff that looks like it came from a flea market that's already got someone's eyebrows stuck inside it. Yeah. Like in a box that's been found in a skip. That is the worst gift. The worst gift in 90-Day History is the toothbrush that Ed gave Rose.
Yeah.
That is the worst 90-Day ever gift. And again, if you've not seen all of 90-Day US, go back and look at Big Ed's first season. With Rose, it's a real shocker. But this
don't give him the airtime.
Right. But this is pretty bad, right? A box of kind of skanky secondhand makeup, and it didn't look new.
And what looked like, it's a leather bracelet that one might make at a summer camp, right? It
looked like something Morton Harkett wore in 1986.
I don't know who that is.
That is the singer of a-ha.
Okay, well, egg on my face. So she goes to Uncle's hair salon to get pampered. The woman doing her makeup obviously hates her because she makes her look like Chitara, was it? Who was the lady lion from that show?
I'm going to say, well, Chitara was not a lion. She was a cheetah, but she was also a person.
But she had the short...
dehumanize her.
No, but she had the short red hair, right?
The hair was a fucking catastrophe. And you could tell right from the start because this woman's in the background of the first shot when she walks into the salon, and she has got evil death face, right? I think she had seen her future marrying the boss's nephew, right? I think she has eyes for Host, and she set out from the start to give her the worst makeover ever.
Well, you couldn't blame her if she were paranoid because Uncle Wissam does nothing to ameliorate her concerns. He talks about the great times they have when they go out with other women and flirt.
Those are good times. To be fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it comes across that way.
No.
And I think you'd be forgiven for thinking that he's that this is some kind of test.
So I get that in that part of the world, family is more like friends and you have these intergenerational kind of relationships and stuff. But is there something a little bit odd about the relationship between uncle and nephew here?
I don't think there's anything odd about it. I think that they are brothers I think that they're each other's wingmen.
Right, but this is what I'm saying, because they're not the same generation. And so do you think there's a degree of Wissam that wants to keep his nephew single to enable him getting very, very pretty ladies like the one he takes to lunch?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I also think he's taking an uncalculable risk by holding scissors close to Bridie while he's talking about these other discussions. Now, in all fairness, we have not seen this hot-headed, maniacal side to Bridie. We've seen no evidence of this. It's all been anecdotal.
They constantly say
from other
she's
people.
She's jealous. They fought. And it's
she used to be jealous.
Yeah.
Talking of which, they're getting ready to go out. I'm blanking on his name completely. I'm so sorry. Host is ironing his jeans. Bridie casually brings up what Uncle Wissam told her. Host gets annoyed and he tries to deflect. He's disappointed and frustrated because they have tackled this jealousy issue. And she says that she just wants clarity, but he's taking it as an accusation. I didn't think she was out of line at all. I didn't feel like she was spoiling for a fight there.
I don't know. This whole you go out and there are other women present, it's triggering in a 90-day context because we have seen this before.
That's right. Yeah. And doesn't go good.
We don't know if he's a Michael or a Jovi. Let's put it that way.
He's excited to take her out. She would have stayed in the hotel. She repeats this at least once. I think we know why, given how handsy they were with each other before.
And I believe that hotel gives out complimentary candy panties.
It might. Bridie doesn't shop well, which is something I can relate to. I wasn't before COVID, but what I don't like is having a shop assistant kind of hanging around. Right. And particularly when I'm trying clothes on, I really don't like it.
And to be fair, in that part of the world, in my limited experience, there is a lot of shop assistants. There's a lot
of looking after because that's what's expected in customer service.
I don't know. I mean, it didn't look like a great place. It certainly didn't look like a place where you buy 5 shirts.
I was unclear on whether she was paying for that or not.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I wonder what the dynamic is there. I mean, he must have a job if he's only able to take this short amount of time,
But
right?
we don't know, again, she has kids, so we don't know if it's a childcare thing or what the reason is. But it did seem a little bit kind of, I don't know, oddly flash to spend that much kind of presumably money and then later have a conversation about how the economy is screwed. So it's a little bit weird.
Maybe it isn't that much, though. Anyway, whatever feelings she had about shopping, the love between them, the fires of passion are not stoked by his announcement to her that their lunch for 2 has now turned into lunch for 8.
I would be delighted.
He explains that in his culture, if somebody calls you and asks you what you're doing, and you don't invite them, it's very rude, and he wouldn't feel comfortable saying no. And obviously, I think when there's a camera around, probably people get excited and want to see what it's all about. And I'm sure they want to meet her.
Yeah.
Go.
What a great opportunity. So here's the thing. Like, when you start off dating, if you can have an opportunity to impress all of the friends and family in one shot, take that opportunity, right? That's a gift for her. All she had to do would be like, this is amazing. I can just be on top of my game for this one lunchtime, one afternoon, and then everyone loves me, right? But instead, it's that kind of... And I think there's a controlling thing there where you try and, prevent other people having an assessment. It's just why... Look, I get that people are insecure. We're all insecure, but there is a need to control the narrative, I think, by making sure that fewer people have a perspective on it.
That might have something to do with it. I didn't appreciate that she was dragging her feet to go to the lunch.
But to be fair, he did railroad her into it and didn't announce it, which is also, bullshit.
Yeah, that's not fair. But then she says that she doesn't want to be around people who talk fast and loud. And that felt like a microaggression. Because I don't know if you've ever been to a place where there are English people abroad, but talking fast and loud, it's endemic in parts of Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, that is fair. I sort of know what you mean. And her fear of, everyone's going to speak a different language, and this isn't how we have fish in this country or the country I come from. It's all a little Englander,
Yeah. But again, she's in a very vulnerable position. I don't get the feeling that she's somebody who has traveled extensively. He's the only person that she knows in this country. She doesn't speak the language. I think I'm not giving her a pass for saying mean things about people that she doesn't know. I'll give her a pass for having anxiety about all of a sudden this lunch turns into... Anyway.
But respectfully, and this applies for everyone on 90 Day everywhere, if you're not comfortable dating someone from another country, maybe don't date people from other countries.
Yeah. I think that's pretty sound advice. So later that night, this is their last night together. Bridie raises the topic of how lots of people are trying to escape or get into relationships for a green card. We've covered that already. There is no green card for England. Host says people's ambitions are limited where he lives, and he doesn't see a way out. She asks if he will do a proposal, and he says she'll have to wait.
So sad. There's nothing worse than asking, right? Right?
Yeah.
Just propose yourself. Don't say, will you propose to me? Say, will you marry me? Don't.
I think I did that. And yeah, I felt for both of them. I mean, there's obviously a spark. There's a lot of chemistry. They care for each other. I don't know that they're right for each other. I think their values are totally different. And that's not me making a judgment on either of their values. I just think that they come from different worlds, and their understanding of social dynamics and things like that they're never going to be able to make a compromise there.
And yet, I think, and I could be proven wrong, but I think they're both pretty reasonable, decent people. And I think Bridie, actually, for as much a kind of shade I'm giving her, I think she's all right. I think she means the best. I don't think that she's imperialistic in any way. I don't think she looks down. I think she feels a genuine kind of affinity and sympathy for the situation that he's in. And I think she handles it all pretty well. I just think if you're going to do something like this, and doing something like this is quite radical, you've got to jump in with both feet. And so to let your anxiety take hold in the way that she does is understandable, but it's not very helpful.
I would also have a very hard time meeting your family for the first time dressed as Bonnie Tyler.
Right.
From the Total Eclipse
She
of the
was
Heart
right
video.
to change the trousers.
She was right to... But the makeup was still a lot. And the hair was a lot. It wasn't good. God bless. I bet her life is really hard. And I can't imagine what it's like to actually... I do know what it's like to have an entire family wringing their hands.
Yeah, but they don't make you sausage rolls, all right? And we'll get to that.
No, she's not the sausage roll one.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
All right, we've changed our plans. I'm coming in close to the microphone like this is some secret revelation. I'm going to find a point to drop this halfway through the podcast. We thought we'd do it all in one, but frankly, it went to 2 hours and 50 minutes and ain't nobody got time for that. So we're going to kill this one here. This is part 1, part 2. Frankly, we'll probably put it up at the same time. We're not teasers like that, right?
Right.
Right. But this is so that you can listen to something between our 2 podcasts. What should they listen to between? Reality Gaze.
Reality Gaze. I highly recommend.
We like those. I also recommend lots and lots of podcasts of American people talking about television. Michelle hates the podcasts I listen to.
I hate all of them.
It's basically a bunch of football stuff, and the people that she regards as my real best friends, who I listen to, who I have these imaginary conversations with about shows that I won't have those conversations with her. There's a lot of jealousy going on. She's seen me liking them on Facebook. Sometimes I go out with those podcasts and she's aware that I'm listening to them without her. It's fraught. Anyway, this is the end of part 1 of the first 3 episodes. Part 2 is going to drop down the hatch any second now, and we will see you next week for, I guess, part 3 for us, episode 4 for them.
Well, we're not going to see you.
No. We're watching you.
We're watching